After defeating the evil ghost pirate LeChuck, Guybrush Threepwood earned his title as a mighty pirate, and he won't shut up about it. Just 1 year after the release of The Secret of Monkey Island, Guybrush returned to gaming with a follow-up adventure, Monkey Island 2: LeChuck's Revenge, and this time it's personal. Monkey Island 2 was released in 1991 as Guybrush set sail to find the legendary treasure of Big Whoop while being pursued by his twice-dead nemesis, LeChuck. This is the Monkey Island 2: LeChuck's Revenge, Iceberg Explained, and this is your spoiler warning for the game, the series, and potentially the real secret of Monkey Island. The second Monkey Island game is the odd one out when it comes to the naming conventions of the series. It is the only sequel in the series to have a numerical identification, not including the chapter numbers for Tales of Monkey Island. It's also the only entry in the series with the name of the game coming after the title. Every other game in the series has the name as a prefix to the name, starting with The Secret of Monkey Island, going into The Curse of Monkey Island, Escape from Monkey Island, and Tales of Monkey Island, which, by the way, did not feature a single tale from Monkey Island. And the latest game, Return to Monkey Island, follows that naming convention as well. Monkey Island 2 features a puzzle that only makes sense to Foo Fighter fans. In order to retrieve a piece of the map to Big Whoop, Guybrush must turn off a waterfall by using the pump. The trouble with the puzzle was that it relied heavily on the players figuring out that using Jojo the monkey as a wrench was the solution. If you're an American or a 19th century English speaking tradie, you'll get the connection. It's even a little funny. A monkey wrench is a type of wrench that was popular in the 19th century, more popularly referred to as a pipe wrench. It's also a popular American idiom that means to sabotage something, as in to throw a monkey wrench into the works. The puzzle proved particularly challenging for international audiences regardless of people's fluency in English. The puzzle did not contain any logic that anyone unfamiliar with the American phrase could work out, and so the monkey wrench puzzle lives on in adventure game infamy alongside that damned goat puzzle in Broken Sword. Adventure games were challenging back in the 90s, especially when puzzles involved stealing a monkey from a bar and using it to turn off the water to a waterfall. So LucasArts had a novel idea, creating a hint line that customers can pay money to get advice on what to do to progress in the game. This was way back before people had the internet and game facts for quick people what to do. Towards the end of Monkey Island 2, players can actually stumble across a phone box in Dinky Island jungle, and if they interact with it, they'll be put through to Chester at the LucasArts hint desk. Chester's having a bad day though, and he doesn't really help Guybrush or the player figure out what to do next. The interaction does include a funny reference to the stump joke from the first Monkey Island game, which caused players to flood the hint line with panic about missing discs. LeChuck's Revenge is heavily inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Walt Disney Studios. The game even goes so far as to lift elements of the ride and turn them into puzzles for the game. The most notable is the classic jailhouse scene where Guybrush attempts to lure the dog to his cell by shaking a bone at him. Pirates of the Caribbean did not let this go unpunished. The second film in the franchise borrows a few elements from LeChuck's Revenge in return. During the opening scene of Dead Man's Chest, Captain Jack Sparrow uses a coffin as a rowboat, much like the mighty pirate himself. LeChuck's Revenge and Dead Man's Chest also both feature a swamp-dwelling voodoo lady who helps the protagonists on their quest. Now that the House of Mouse owns Monkey Island, could these two franchises finally collide proper? 19 years after the original release of Monkey Island 2: LeChuck's Revenge, a special edition version of the game was released. The version was a complete graphical overhaul and brought the game to new mediums, including mobile phones. The game was bundled together with the special edition of the first game and featured lots of behind-the-scenes content. The long-rumoured Monkey Island film was finally confirmed as being a real thing, and the bonus content went as far as to show pre-production for the film, which was eventually cancelled. LeChuck's Revenge has a lot of pop culture references in it, particularly references to Guybrush's colleagues at LucasArts. Guybrush meets Elaine's dog during the game when he crashes her house party. She's affectionately named the dog after him. Guybrush, meet Guybrush the dog. Dogbrush even joins the pirate on his adventures when he is dognapped by Guybrush and shoved into his pants. Infinity pockets are cool and everything, but a dog and a monkey? Those pants are doing a lot of heavy lifting. The dog's name is a homage to fellow adventurer Indiana Jones, who was famously named after the family dog. During the third act of The Secret of Monkey Island, Guybrush opens a telescope and removes the lens to blow up a small dam on Monkey Island. He finds another spyglass during his adventures in the Tri-Island areas, and savvy players try tried the same tactics on this version. Although a lens is needed to complete one of the puzzles in Monkey Island 2, players won't be able to retrieve it from the spyglass. When the player attempts to open the spyglass, Guybrush quips that this isn't Monkey Island 1, letting players know that this isn't what the spyglass is used for in this game. Monkey Island does not hold back from referencing its bigger, more popular older brother, Star Wars. One of the most obvious references is when the Voodoo Lady almost verbatim repeats a line first uttered by Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope.
Wait, I just felt a sudden disturbance in the Force. As if a tiny, tiny voice just called out in fear and then hastily scratched a message in a table. I think Wally's in trouble, and I think LeChuck has something to do with it.
The tiny voice is that of Wally B. Feed, a cartographer from the town of Woodchuck on Scab Island. Wally is one of various victims of Guybrush, who steals his monocle for his own personal gain. Wally is then captured by LeChuck and taken to his fortress. Speaking of Star Wars references, there is a very obvious reference at the end of the game during an exchange between Guybrush and the zombie pirate LeChuck. Once LeChuck catches up with his nemesis Guybrush, the baddie reveals that he is in fact his brother. After being told this, Guybrush makes his best Luke Skywalker impersonation.
Like dreadlocks?
Yes, rather like that. Or like brothers.
Huh?
I am your brother.
No. That's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
No!
And I brought a little surprise for you.
Despite being billed as Monkey Island 2, the home of the cannibals is nowhere to be found in this game. LeChuck's revenge moves Guybrush to brand new locations including Booty Island, Fat Island and Dinky Island. Dinky Island is located near Monkey Island. Guybrush even bumps into resident Monkey Island madman and fan favourite Herman Tooferup. Monkey Island 2 is the first game in the series not to feature its namesake island in the game. The latest entry, Tales of Monkey Island, is the only other game so far. iMuse, an acronym for Interactive Music Streaming Engine, was a music system used in many of the games created by LucasArts. Monkey Island 2 was the first game to utilize this and is most notable when players are walking through Woodtick on Scab Island. iMuse allowed music to transition seamlessly to match the event scene on the screen. For example, whenever Guybrush enters a new building on Woodtick, a new version of the Woodtick theme will play with a new instrument being added, and when he left that building there would be a flourish before the music returned to the normal Woodtick theme. LeChuck has one known weakness, which Guybrush was able to exploit to destroy the ghost pirate in The Secret of Monkey Island. Savvy players who managed to acquire a bottle of root beer during their playthrough of Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge may want to try and rid him once and for all using the same method. However, root beer only works on ghosts, and the evil pirate LeChuck is no longer a ghost. He's a zombie. Root beer has no effect on him. It does, however, make for a funny exchange between the two rivals. In a throwback to Guybrush's colleague at Lucasfilm, there is a short scene seemingly ripped right from the pages of Indiana Jones's script. During the course of the game, there will be a moment where Guybrush has himself posted to LeChuck's fortress by climbing into a crate. The untold journey ends with the mighty pirate emerging from the crate at the entrance of the fort. Before carrying on with his adventure, he proclaims that he hates snakes, suggesting that he was accompanied by snakes in the box. Imagine poor Indy having to try to deal with that.
Ick, I hate snakes.
When Guybrush visits the costume shop on Booty Island, a costume for another of his colleagues is hung up in the background. Guybrush needs an outfit to sneak into his one-time paramour Elaine Marley's party. Despite having a shop full of costumes, Guybrush is unable to rent the Max costume because everything has been reserved. In the special edition version of this game, the Max costume has been swapped out for a tentacle. This is likely because the rights to Sam and Max were no longer held by Lucasfilm, and Telltale Games were actively developing new games featuring the duo. Monkey Island 2 would be the last game that creator Ron Gilbert would make for LucasArts. He departed to set up Humongous Entertainment, which developed educational point-and-click games for children. The writers of the game, Dave Grossman and Tim Schafer, would also depart Monkey Island following the second game, leaving a brand new team to take up control for The Curse of Monkey Island, which released in 1997. But we'll talk about that more in the Monkey Island 3 Iceberg. Make sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to hear when that video comes out. Since releasing the first Iceberg video, news emerged that Ron Gilbert and Dave Grossman have reunited with Lucasfilm to create Return to Monkey Island, the 6th game in the series, taking place directly after Monkey Island 2 and possibly other points in time. At the start of the game, Guybrush is chatting up Bert and Fink outside the sausage hut. He has them enthralled with tales of his bravery and adventurer lifestyle. They quickly grow bored of his bragging and suggest he stop living in the past. Bert and Fink may be revisited and asked questions at several points within the game. Guybrush can also ask them to sing a song. If they agree, Guybrush can choose where they start with their rendition of Bottles of Beer on the Wall.
Pass it around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall.
508.
Oh, 508 bottles of beer on the wall. 508 bottles of beer.
At the end of the game, a young Guybrush is reunited with his parents at a carnival and LeChuck is revealed to be his brother Chucky. There is a brief moment where Chucky turns to the camera and his eyes flash menacingly, indicating that all is not as it seems. Before the game ends, we're taken back to a scene with Elaine and she wonders what has happened to Guybrush. The implication is that LeChuck has managed to pull off a voodoo curse and now Guybrush believes he is a child. The resolution to this story thread is skipped over in the third game, which starts with Guybrush having already defeated the voodoo curse he was put under. However, the upcoming Return to Monkey Island promises to delve deeper into what happened at this time. Like the first game, anyone who wants the bragging rights without having to do any of the hard work, you can press Ctrl W to instantly win the game. What's different in this game is that doing so unlocks a very unique scene with Elaine standing next to the big whoop hole wondering what she's doing there. Since Guybrush's adventure didn't really happen, there was no reason for Elaine to come and rescue him. The Ctrl W function was taken out of the special edition remaster of Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge, meaning the only way to win was to finish the game how it was intended. Once Guybrush arrives on Fat Island, he is arrested for some of his various crimes, including the murder of LeChuck and the use of witchcraft on one Largo Legrand. He's arrested, and before he can continue to explore the island, he must deal with his wanted poster. Instead of ripping down the poster and destroying the evidence, the mighty pirate takes a morally bankrupt route to solve his problems. Players will cover up his wanted poster with an advert for the innocent Cape Capsize, who will then be later arrested in the game. What's interesting about the wanted poster is if you check it throughout the course of the game, additional charges are added based on all the crimes Guybrush commits in the Tri-Island area. Everyone's favourite cartographer has a really rough time of it during LeChuck's Revenge. First, Guybrush steals his monocle, effectively rendering the poor guy blind. Then he is abducted by LeChuck and taken to his fortress in the middle of the sea. The next time most players meet Wally again is when he and Guybrush are dangling over a pit of acid where they will surely die. This is a timed puzzle, and if players can't complete the actions quickly enough, Wally and Guybrush are lowered into the acid and die. Thankfully, the death is instantly erased as Guybrush is telling the story and he did in fact survive. He just got the details wrong, but Wally was originally supposed to experience a second death. However, we'll get into that later in the video. When Guybrush is in the library attempting to check out a book, he is told by the librarian that he needs to provide his full name and address before she can give him any books. Players are given a variety of options when filling out the details for the card. All of the options Guybrush can choose for his address are from famous locations. 221B Baker Street, which is of course the London address for Sherlock Holmes. 10 Downing Street, another London address, specifically the home of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. 1060 West Addison, a fake address used by the Blues Brothers, and 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the address of the White House in Washington, D.C. At one point, a third difficult option was planned for the game, but was scrapped due to space constraints. Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge was already being shipped on 11 floppies, which meant a lot of content ended up on the shopping room floor. The third difficulty option would have been a medium game. It would have been a happy middle ground between the current light and regular game modes. Monkey Island 2 was the first game produced under the rebranded LucasArts label. The company had reorganized its business divisions, and the game team was part of the LucasArts Entertainment Company, along with the special effects team Industrial Light and Magic and the sound design team Skywalker Sound. Industrial Light and Magic and Skywalker Sound were later reorganized into Lucas Digital, leaving the games division to be the sole LucasArts business under that name. name. Otherwise completely absent for the game, Guybrush does return to Melee Island during the climax of the game to create his voodoo doll. He uses an elevator in the tunnels under Dinky Island, which returns him to the alleyway from the Secret of Monkey Island where he first encountered Fester Shinetop. This is an entirely optional area in the first game, so some players may not be aware that this is even Melee Island. What this is implying is that the tunnels underneath the islands connect Melee, Dinky and Monkey Islands. If only Guybrush had known that in the first game. LeChuck's Fortress has an optional room that many players miss or have forgotten about. Instead of progressing through the skeleton puzzle on the wall, players will eventually end up in the fortress's cell if they keep walking to the right. There isn't much to do in this room. There's a keyhole on the wall, but Guybrush doesn't have the key and can't find it during the game. If you peer into the cell, you can see Wally dangling alone. It's possible to talk to him and he'll reveal how he ended up at the fortress. He tells Guybrush to fetch the key from LeChuck's office, meaning this must have been a puzzle that was cut from the game before release. Unfortunately, Guybrush can't help the cartographer escape until the acid pit scene later in the game. In the Secret of Monkey Island, Guybrush needs to borrow the head of the navigator from the cannibals of Monkey Island in order to navigate his way through the maze under the monkey head. The navigator was an arrogant, sometimes unhelpful character who we don't see again after the first game. In LeChuck's Revenge, more of his backstory is revealed. He used to sail with Captain Dread, but the pair found themselves running afoul of the cannibals on Monkey Island. Dread manages to escape, but the navigator was not so lucky. Dread managed to keep hold of his friend's eyeball, which he has since kept as a good luck charm. An easily missable joke is Guybrush trying to pick up Kate Capsize. She rebuffs all of his advances with clever quips. It's reminiscent of insult sword fighting, but in this case, I guess it would be insult pickup lines. Guybrush goes full nice guy mode when Kate Capsize won't date him by having her arrested for his crimes. LeChuck's Revenge doesn't feature any insult sword fighting minigame, which has been a mainstay in the series. The developers wanted to include a minigame that built on this mechanic, but due to lack of ideas, they decided not to include it in the game at all, rather than retread something they've already done. A new version of insult sword fighting appears in The Curse of Monkey Island based on sea shanties and rhyming, giving the minigame a fresh take. The concept appears again as a plot point in Escape from Monkey Island, as Ozzy Mandrill is an unbeatable opponent. The early copyright protection for LeChuck's Revenge was similar to the Dial a Pirate will from the first game. Rather than matching the faces of pirates, this time players had to match voodoo ingredients on the Mix and Mojo voodoo ingredient proportion dial. Most copies of the game did not include this copyright protection, as the move to CD-ROMs made it more difficult to implement. The game initially had two difficulty modes: the normal game most people are familiar with, and a significantly easier version known as Monkey Light. This version of the game saw many of the puzzles either removed or simplified, making it easier for players to play through. There are some unique items and dialogue only present in this version of the game. When the game moved to CD, this version of the game was no longer accessible. Despite still being in the game files, the boot sequences would bypass the selection screen and boot the regular version of the game. The Special Edition remake also didn't allow players to select the difficulty, although the entire game Monkey Island Lite version was recreated and can be accessed through the game files and some special software. The tunnels under Dinky Island are one of the strangest places in the game. They seem to be completely out of sync with the rest of the game. The Voodoo Lady suggests that they lead to another world, potentially hell. These tunnels connect Dinky Island to Melee Island, but it's not the first time they appear. Earlier in the game, when Guybrush needs to reach Rum Roger's house on Fat Island, he passes through a tunnel of the same design. This could just be a decision to save space, or could suggest that the tunnels are actually present on many of the islands in the Tri-Island area. There's a third theory about these tunnels, but that's saved for the final factoid in this iceberg. Wally is the character that has the worst fate in Monkey Island 2. In the original story for the game, it was going to be revealed that after surviving the explosion at the fortress, Wally would be adrift at sea on some makeshift raft. His monocle would come loose and fall into the sea. Wally will reach in to try and recover it, but would end up falling in and drowning, never to be seen again. Thankfully, this storyline was removed from the game, leading to the character's grand return in The Curse of Monkey Island, and allowing him to return once more in Return to Monkey Island. Possibly the longest joke in video game history with the lamest payoff belongs to Herman Toothrop. The Hermit plays a small role in the game on Dinky Island, where he poses Guybrush with a philosophical question. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, what colour is it? Players are given a variety of options to try and guess the correct answer. As he eliminates options, more colours are added to the dialogue options. This is a true test of patience for players, many of whom will never exhaust the list, as there is the allure of Big Whoop waiting in the wings. For those who make it to the end of the list, Guybrush can select all colours, which is the correct answer. The lesson he learns is that philosophy is not worth his time. At one point in the development of LeChuck's Revenge, it looked like there was going to be a new character introduced known as El Carlo. There is a design doc created by Peter Chan that shows the design of an office in LeChuck's fortress. It's the same place where LeChuck has a conversation with a voodoo priest. On the design document, it's denoted as El Carlo's office. This could indicate that the voodoo priest was in fact El Carlo, but one of the early box releases has a blurb on the back giving the character a more grandiose purpose in the story. On the Kix XL UK box, the blurb contains details of an early or misinterpreted version of the game. It states that LeChuck's brother is out for revenge and names him El Carlo. Perhaps this was a misunderstanding of the final twist in LeChuck's Revenge, or is in fact details of an earlier plot, who can say. There aren't a lot of opportunities to make a lot of money in LeChuck's Revenge, and things can get pretty desperate for Guybrush. After you've trapped Stan in one of his previously owned coffins, you can walk over to the till and dip your hands in. At first, the till is locked, but you can bust it open with the same hammer you used to lock Stan away. Guybrush realizes there is nothing in the till, to which Stan replies that he's just been to the bank. Tough luck for Guybrush. The last part of this iceberg is a fan theory about the real secret of Monkey Island. It may or may not be true, so if you want to save yourself a return to Monkey Island, click away now and come back once the game is out to see if this theory was correct. Monkey Island is famously inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, and Monkey Island 2 leans into the theme park connection pretty heavily. The concept essentially arose from Ron Gilbert wondering what it would be like to get off the ride and explore the animatronic world of pirates. And that's essentially where the secret of Monkey Island starts, with Guybrush walking through a doorway and proclaiming that he wants to be a pirate. Ron originally wrote the Monkey Island 2 ending for The Secret of Monkey Island, but he was talked out of it by his co-writers Tim Schafer and Dave Grossman. The theme park references are a bit thin in the first game, but can still be found in things like the grog machine at Stan's previously owned vessels, and when you talk to the roaming pirates who say, "Come on, Guybrush, play along." But it's in the sequel where things get really interesting. Even if we exclude the very existence of the Carnival of the Damned at the end of the game, there are many references to theme parks throughout the entire game. When Guybrush believes he has stumbled upon the treasure of Big Whoop, he only finds an e-ticket. This is very similar to the e-coupons patrons could buy as day passes for certain rides at Disneyland. In the Fat City Library, there is a number of books written by Walt Whimsy, which may be a name inspired by Mr. Walt Disney himself. The door on Melee Island is labelled Employees Only and takes Guybrush to the tunnels under Dinky Island. This is very reminiscent of the tunnels under Disneyland that staff use to quickly traverse the park. Also in the tunnels are various storage areas, including a broken grog machine and a medical station, things you would expect to see at Disneyland. The scene in the jail with Walt the dog is directly lifted from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride as well, with the dog holding the key which Guybrush needs to escape. This theory is supported by Bill Tiller, who had worked on the third iteration of the franchise. Far from an official confirmation, he goes into some detail about what he heard the secret was intended to be. Here's what he had to say. "The explanation I heard is that Guybrush was lost in the Pirates ride at Big Whoop amusement park the whole time, imagining the whole adventure. Then Chucky, his mean older brother, goes and pulls him back to reality." The end. And that magical lightning that comes out of Chucky's eyes and Elaine waiting by the hole in Dinky Island, which sounds a lot like Disneyland, was put there just in case there was to be a Monkey Island 3. The secret is that the MI world is not real. Now, I have no clue how Ron would have written his way out of that Monkey Island 2 ending. He either knows and isn't telling, or he doesn't know and he isn't telling you he doesn't know. Or he has a bunch of ideas what he would do and isn't telling you that either. That is the bigger secret than what the secret of Monkey Island is. Now, this interview where he said all of this is from 2004, very, very long time ago. But this comes from Bill Tiller, who actively worked on the Monkey Island franchise and would have some insight knowledge through hearsay or anything else as to what the secret of Monkey Island would be. So there we have it, the potential original secret of Monkey Island. Whether this will become true, the true ending following the 6th game remains to be seen, but let me know your thoughts on this ending. Love it, hate it, don't care, comment below.